Well, I know a lot of students in Manatee County are just hoping it's not going to be too rainy tomorrow for the first day. They have all their new outfits.
Yeah, I'm sure the parents aren't happy about it either, you know.
Yeah.
That makes the lines longer, too, to drop off. But
Always.
the things are looking pretty good. I just saw a recent run of a computer forecast model. And you have to look at all of them, obviously, but this one is fairly reliable, and it's showing fairly good conditions to start things off in the morning. Maybe a different story for pickup, but we'll see how that goes. We are looking at a beautiful shot here, the time lapse of what was happening. I actually want to talk about this alligator first. I forgot about this. The alligator right at the front door. Welcome.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I wanted to show you this because, you know, this is what happens when you get a lot of rainfall around. When you get a hurricane, we talk about this all the time, that these critters come out of their normal locations because the water's all over the place. And this one said, hey, I want to come in for a little while, dry off maybe, who knows. Also, snakes can do that. And on top of that, ants have a tendency, those red ants, kind of ball up in the flooding rains and kind of move along with the stream there. So keep that in mind over the upcoming days. And actually, for the next month and a half, we get another one of these systems move in. KC Key webcam now showing you the sunset. There's a big storm that kind of moved in right around 6 o'clock. And then as the sun was setting, we saw a little bit of clearing, kind of purple sky there, purple rain earlier tonight. And then we had some shelf clouds. Get a look at this. Hart's Landing, James White sending this one in. And it looks like a shelf. It's actually the gust front associated with the heavy rainfall that's moving in. It cools and condenses that warm, moist air at the surface. And this is really a classic look of that shelf cloud in North Palmetto. Deb sending this one in. Appreciate those. And viewer photos, we had some shelf clouds out there maybe right now. We just can't see them. It's too dark. But, boy, another round of showers and storms earlier this evening, prompting the National Weather Service to issue a flood advisory for Charlotte County, where 3 inches of rain fell. And this is kind of interesting. Notice some more storms developing just to the southwest of Rotunda and Placida, moving off toward that direction. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think we'll see more popping up in the Gulf of Mexico. And by the way, that model I alluded to saying it did pretty good and it looks good for tomorrow morning, well, it didn't show that rain that's developing now southwest of Port Charlotte. So it may not be all that accurate. Some showers inland now, winding down. Rainfall totals were very impressive. You know, yesterday Northport got hammered with nearly 4 inches of rainfall. Lakewood Ranch had about 3. Well, it's spread around today. Northwest Braden didn't get any yesterday hardly, and now they got 3 inches today. Flood watch now has been moved northward. And that's kind of following the track of the storm system, which is heading off to the west now. We expect that to continue to move away from us, and that means improving weather conditions on Thursday. Really, we'll get back to the afternoon and evening thunderstorms. It'll come back on Thursday and continue through the weekend. 77 right now, dew point at 73. The pressure actually has been rising. That's a good thing. 30.10 inches. So we'll even see more sunshine tomorrow, I do believe. Again, east winds are at 8 miles an hour. The high today, well, because of the clouds and rain, 84 degrees, the normal 90, and the record 96, set back in 2009. Nearly a half inch of rain at the Sarasota-Braden Airport. We're still below average for the month and for the year as well. And statewide temperatures all in the 70s now, mid to upper 70s. There were no real 90s today because of that large canopy of clouds coming from that storm system over the Panhandle. Right now, 80 degrees in Cortez, 80 in Braden Beach, 75 in Lake Placid, and 75 as well in Punta Gorda. I mentioned the forecast model tomorrow. Looks good, doesn't it? Well, we'll see how that plays out. I still think there'll be a few around in the morning. And then by the afternoon, this particular model does suggest some big storms firing up around 11 o'clock and then moving on shore during the early afternoon hours. And some of those could be strong at times, and they push off to the east, and then clearing skies tomorrow night. And then look for that afternoon and evening variety of sea breeze fronts to develop on Thursday. It'll be nice to get back to normal. But those storms, too, could have some pretty heavy rainfall in them because the atmosphere is still very moist, and that will cause some additional flooding concerns, but it's not going to be around all that long. Well, pretty impressive clouds associated with this storm system. And notice that big explosion of storms right there as the low pressure gets closer to those warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, which are still into the mid to upper 80s at this time. South winds at 10 knots. Tomorrow, a little bit stormy. Seas right around 2 feet with a light chop. And the water temperature now 85 degrees. One of the benefits of these storms and clouds, cooling things down in the Gulf of Mexico. The next tide, a low tide at 12:10, and then a high tide at 5:49. Tonight, overnight storms are developing. I mentioned we have a few right now in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll see if that continues to be the case. And then 60%. So it's down a little bit tomorrow from 80% over the past couple of days, and 89 the high temperature. The extended forecast is calling for typical summer Florida weather once we get through Thursday, and boy, it has been a long 5 days.